Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Rosham Joe Paints. As always, my name is Joe and today I'm going to be painting the Necron Cryptothrall. Now that may sound like some sort of new Bitcoin currency, cryptocurrency or whatever, and maybe it should be, but for now it's not. What it is it is the bodyguard to the Crypteks, that is, the Kevin Costner to the Whitney Houston, if you will. So I was going to sing there for a little bit, but I figured I'd save you the time and eardrums realistically. So, but you know, I think we'll have a lot of fun painting this. Should be a very quick one. I painted one already. He's over there, but it's really far away, so you probably can't see him. But I know that when I painted that one, it took like 2 hours, so I'll probably wrap this up like 55, 60 minutes tops. Okay, here is the Cryptothrall, and I'm going to be painting them in sub-assemblies. So that is 2 pieces, 3, you know, I can count. And there you go. So that's as simple as it is. I already have everything glued together here, and we are going to start off with the Chaos Black primer. And then now that the primer is down, I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of Leadbelcher in a medium to heavy dry brush. That seems familiar, actually. I feel like I've done that on just about everything lately. So with our coat of Chaos Black here, we're going to dry brush on some Leadbelcher. Here, we're going to go ahead and use a quick coat of Leadbelcher over the entire model. With your toast fresh out of the toaster, we're going to go ahead and start with some Leadbelcher over the top of it. Nevertheless, that is what we're going to be doing here. And I am going to make sure that I hit all these little cracks and crevices, supporting it so that I don't break it off of the stand, of course. I'm using the Army Painter Masterclass Moderate Dry Brush. There's 3 of these in the little package in case anyone is looking. I do like these dry brushes. They are my go-to dry brushes now, except for, I think for the little itty bitty tiny things. Then I go back to my old, I've got like a, what is it, Citadel small or medium dry brush, so I'll use that. As usual, don't dry brush more right off the bat. You can always go back and get more paint on your brush and then knock it off because it's a dry brush. And then, you know, you can continue to add, but, you know, as they say, it is hard to take away, but it's really not that hard. You could just throw some Nuln Oil on there and, you know, highlight it the normal way rather than dry brush with, you know, whatever you feel like. So I'm going to do it this way because it's quick, even though I'm not making it seem like that, but there you go. So I will finish up the dry brush of the body as well as the arms, and we will move on to probably another dry brush after that, if you can imagine. With the Leadbelcher now completed, we're going to move on to some Runefang Steel, and I'm going to be doing a much lighter dry brush on this time. I'm using the smaller version, which is miniature dry brush, anyways. Using the smaller dry brush, and I'm using even less paint, and I'm just going to go and kind of try to aim for the hardest points, but really I don't know if you can see this, I'm like floating the brush pretty far away because I don't want to turn the entire guy extremely bright. I just want some of the highest edges and sharpest edges to get that brighter silver from the Runefang. And if you don't find enough of it has hit the parts that you want, grab yourself an edge highlighting brush and go back and do that. But because these guys are dirty and dingy and all kinds of, I just came out of the ground, I just woke up this way, I look good, kind of, you know, your usual Necron self, I guess. I have no idea if any of that is true, but because I was stalling for time and trying to just finish this to show you how fast it can actually go, because again, you're not looking to put a whole lot of Runefang Steel, just again, on the highest portions, and I think that is the entire body done. And if I forgot some parts, that's okay, because it's okay. All right, so I'm gonna go do the arms next, and then we will move on to, I don't know, Caliban Green. How's that sound? Sounds good to me, so let's do it. So with all of our dry brushing completed for now, I'm gonna move on to some Caliban Green, and this is going to be used in these orb sections that are inside the torso or abdomen or whatever this is. They're right here. You can see them. Now I'm doing this because I like to make a glowing effect on these orbs. However, once I'm done getting this last little section right here for the first part of the base coat, I will show you something, and that is my other completed Cryptothrall. And as you can see, well, maybe on the other side you can kind of see it. Okay, there it is. So basically, if you want to skip this part and just like paint them green and be done with it, wow, it doesn't look like a glowing effect on camera at all. It's a good thing it gets covered up, I guess. Anyways, so there's the other guy. Hey, and that's also how it's going to look like when it's done. But regardless, I am still going to put another glowing effect under here. I'm also going to do any hoses, and I think this is the only one because this is a very simple model to paint, but you know, we'll base coat this green and we'll cover it up with some other greens later, but we will carefully do that, as well as hitting his eye. And I can see that this actually has a little bit of a different eye than the other guy. The other one was more sunken in, kind of like this. This one stands out, so there you go. Just don't paint over that silver. Also, once again, let me finish this last little bit right here. So now we're on the other side of the cough break, and we're going to be painting all of this. I guess this is his back piece or top piece. I don't know. They don't really have the same physiology as most people do, so I don't know what you would call this other than I'm going to be painting that piece. I'm going to be painting that piece as opposed to the other piece. So we're going to be giving this a base coat of Caliban Green. Get it nice and, you know, thin, so when you're doing it, you don't leave any giant chunks or brush strokes or anything like that. But that does mean that you will probably have to put a couple coats down. So, and then finally, because I like how it looks, I am going to be painting the top of the arms. This is actually how I did my destroyer legs, I think, and looked good to me. So I'm going to be painting just the, just the top half of this leg. And if I mess up with it, that's fine. I'll come back with a little bit of silver to get that bottom piece again. But basically, we're just coming right in here, going right up to that raised edge that is in the center of the scything claw, or whatever it is called. And then, of course, we will also paint back here like that across the back, because why not? There might be a reason. I'm asking you, what do you think? Why not? Oh, okay. Anyways, top it across and blah, blah, blah. So we will finish up our Caliban Green because it is a nice quick step, and then we will move on. So with our Caliban Green now dried and base coated and looking nice, let's go ahead and darken it down with a little bit of Nuln Oil. Not too much, of course. We just want to get into the cracks and crevices, but we also want a smooth layer over all of that Caliban Green, because the Caliban Green by itself, you know, it just... I don't know, looks good, I guess, but I'm making it darker. Also, I am going to go over and do these flaying talons, just the green portions again. Again, if you hit the silver, that's not a problem. You can go fix it. Just try not to, because then you don't have to do those things. So, Nuln Oil here. I'm not going to do, I should mention, I'm not going to put any Nuln Oil on the orbs, because by the time we've done all of the highlighting of the orbs, you don't even really see the Caliban Green anymore anyway. So I just use it as a base coat to cover up the black. So let me re-dip my brush here and get some Nuln Oil on this guy. I'll put it on the inside once this outer portion dries, even though I may not see it, but that's just kind of the way I do things. So after that, we will move on to Warpstone Glow. Now that the Nuln Oil has dried on these pieces, I'm going to go back with a little bit of a dry brush of Warpstone Glow, and I'm going to make it even lighter than that. All I want to do is, you know, I'm going to come back with some Moot Green after this, really just looking to kind of hit the freshly Nuln Oiled, made of that noun a verb now. Trying to make that, let's see if you can see the difference. It's like just bringing a little bit of color out, but there's still a lot of dark in here. I don't think my camera is set up quite the right way because you can't really tell. But trust me, when you do it on the model, you'll see that you just get a little bit of that Warpstone Glow showing, but most of the darkened down Caliban Green is what comes through. Making sure to just go ahead and barely touch any of this. Probably won't see this part, I'm not going to lie. So maybe just avoid that if you feel like it, because really you're going to come back with some Moot Green and highlight most of this, and that's going to make it stand out so much. But, you know, it's a thought that counts. So, and I can go over on this edge because that's going to get colored soon, but do try to be careful when you're going around the arm. So, all right, and just like that, we are done with the dry brush, as I continue to dry brush, of Moot Green. And what I'm going to do is call Moot Green, or call Warpstone Glow Moot Green. That was Warpstone Glow. You know, it's written, like, where is it written? Down there. It's over there. It's over there. So anyways, point is, that was Warpstone Glow dry brush. I'm going to highlight now with Warpstone Glow. Nope. I'm just going to stop. That's what I'm going to do. So now that I've gathered my thoughts and actually figured out what I was trying to say, I will tell you, I was finishing up the dry brush with Warpstone Glow, and now I'm going to do a stippled layer with Warpstone Glow again. There's no parts on the hands and arms, but I am going to cover like 90%, 80 to 90% of this hose by the neck in this color. And you can always come back if you'd like. Stipple a little bit of Caliban Green there on the very end so that it looks like just a darker portion. But as you can see, it looks pretty dark as is. Now, for the orb, I'm going to start in the center. And I used to draw like a circle, but it makes it look too hard of an edge. So really just going to do this and kind of add little stipples all around. And again, we're looking at like 80% of this thing. So you're still going to see a little bit of the Warpstone Glow down in the, nope, I did it again. Caliban Green down in the very bottom there. Unless, of course, you paint Warpstone Glow down at the bottom. That is what we're painting with after all. So you could do that if you wanted to, I guess. But I want to just stipple this, and I don't want to do one straight motion, like, you know, like an actual just painting motion, because then I will create a hard edge. Now, to me, in person, that looks pretty good, and I think it looks pretty good on the camera as well. So we'll do that, of course, on the eye as well, and we'll do that on the other side. And then what we'll do later is, once we get into the Moot Green, we're going to do the exact same thing where we're going to stipple a bunch, just far less this next time. And then Dorn Yellow, again, far less. And it's going to be a lot of going back and forth. Like you could see a good amount of, well, maybe not so much on the camera, but you can see a good amount of the Caliban showing through, and that's okay. Like, actually, in this stippling process, dries pretty quick. I don't really care if I have some of that showing through on the edges, again, because I don't want that clean circular line, because then it doesn't look right to me. Airbrush, if you got it, but I don't. Technically, I do. I'm just not going to use it. Anyways, let me do this side, and then we'll move on to Moot Green before I start saying Warpstone Glow and Moot Green 150 more times. With our dry brush of Warpstone Glow fully dried off and ready to go here, let's put on an edge highlight where no one will see it, right here, with Moot Green. Now, of course, you don't have to do that portion. You can if you'd like, but you don't have to. I am going to, because why not? It allows me to start seeing the consistency of the paint, and if it's too wet or if it's not wet enough, or blah, blah, blah. So it's also, you know, it's good practice for edge highlighting. So there you go. Anyways, I'm going to come around this whole section here. And then, of course, I will also be doing the front and sides and pretty much everywhere, right? I mean, that's what edge highlighting is all about. Anywhere that's green, I guess, you don't have to paint all the other colors. So lay a little bit of line right. Wow, I'm moving away from the camera view here. Little line right there. The way that I like to do these vents is I just kind of go 1, 2, 3, then go after this side and go 1, 2, 3, and then flip it over this way. You get the idea. So anyway, I was going to continue edge highlighting with Moot Green until I run out of things to edge highlight. So while the shoulder pieces on the arms got some edge highlighting, here we are going to do a little bit of blending, the best I can currently do it with my skill set, which is, yeah, medium at best, I would say. We are going to do just mostly the center. And if you feel like you went too far, go ahead and get some Warpstone Glow and just tap it on the edges here. But I think that's roughly where I want it. How did I do the other guy? About the same? Yeah, about the same. Now, we are also going to add another stipple layer on top of the Warpstone Glow in the orbs. And for this, for the eye, I'm just going to go really, really close to the very top here. Just like, basically like that, and that's about it. Can't see that because I have to show you. Can you focus? Can you focus? At some point, I think I've said this multiple videos, but at some point I'll have a camera that focuses. It's not user error at all, I swear. Anyways, so we got this piece here, and we're just going to do some stippling, because we want it to be mostly centered. And I am going to grab a little bit of the Warpstone Glow, watered down, and we're just going to come around the outside again, tapping. You can't even see that because I'm holding the wrong spot because I haven't gotten used to where I put the camera. Tapping. And it's okay if you go over some of that Moot Green as well. That allows the colors to kind of blend together since this is a very thin coat of Warpstone Glow. I'll show that off again over here on the larger orb. That was probably what I should have used for my example. Don't want too much paint, but again, starting in the center and just kind of tapping my way close to the edge, and then we'll come back again with a little bit of Warpstone Glow and go around and mix those two colors together. You can see it's still kind of wet. Wash the brush off, get a little bit of Warpstone Glow that's watered down, and again, stipple around the outsides of where that Moot Green now is. And if you hit some of it, that's fine. You're blending these two colors together, and that is fine. Now, like I said, overall, this is going to get covered up. So you're not even going to see most of this. So the back and forth that I normally would say to go ahead and do on things like the blades, it may not be worth it here because this, again, can only be seen from particular angles. So, but it is fun and it's good practice. And if it looks bad, nobody sees it, which is kind of how I paint everything. So there we go. Oh my gosh, this is the worst camera for focusing, but that's okay. So there you go. We're going to do the same thing now on the other side, and then we're going to come back with some Dorn Yellow, finish that out, and then we're going to go all the way back to more base coats because I completely skipped an entire step. But trust me, it's only 2 paints. It's a quick step. We'll be done. We'll be out of here soon enough. I think I might have been embellishing a little bit, saying it was going to be like an hour-long video when I was doing the intro. Or was I? I was. Okay, so last portion, we're going to put in a little bit of Dorn Yellow in the very center here. And you will see my brush does not look like Dorn Yellow, and it's because it looks like Moot Green. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of priming the section with a wet version of the Moot Green. And now I'm going to come in with a thinned down wet version of Dorn Yellow. And what I want to do is I want to basically just tap the very center here and have those colors kind of blend together, because I don't want a super strong yellow and I don't want the yellow to go too far. So that's all I'm looking for right there, is just that little bit of a glowing effect. We'll do the same thing on an orb here and see if we can make it look as easy. I'm going to highly doubt it because I don't have that kind of luck. But remember, these orbs in the center here get covered up. So really just the one you want to make sure looks nice and pretty and clean is going to be this hose as well as the eye. So put on a little bit of watered down Dorn Yellow. Nope, the watered down Moot Green, that is. What is it with me and not being able to say the color that I'm painting with today? All right, Moot Green. Now we got our watered down Dorn Yellow, and we're just going to be hitting this center portion, trying to get the yellow and the green to mix together a little bit. And just like that. So now what we have is lighter than Moot Green, but darker than Dorn Yellow. And we're mixing it all together. And now, wow, in this way over here, there we go. The brightness of the camera made it look really, really bright. But so there you go. Just kind of looks like it's glowing a little bit. We'll go back, add a little bit more Dorn Yellow right in the very center. Once this dries just a little bit, I still want to be able to blend the colors together slightly, but, you know, just to try and make that center that much brighter with yellow. If you felt like it, you could go back with a little bit of the white scar, that is, and then it's just like pure white. I would do the smallest dot in the very center of that yellow. But again, once you cover this up with a piece such as this, I will show you again that all of that work is for basically naught. So you can kind of see it in there, depending on which angle you're looking at. But for the most part, if you're, you know, like I said, you're seeing the hose and you're seeing the eye. So focus on those to make them look nice, and really just use this orb here, I would say, as practice. That's what I'm using it for. So anyways, moving right along. So our final base coat, which I completely forgot about originally, is the Abaddon Black that I'm going to be putting onto the collar, or at least the piece that surrounds the face, whatever it ends up calling itself. I actually tested with gold because my Sautekh normally get a lot of gold. The typical Sautekh will get either gold on like the spine or some sort of decorations. This is actually the first one that I've painted that has 0 gold on it, but that's okay. Not all of them need gold, I guess. And overall, it's not as if I'm painting specifically for lore or completely accurate as to how it should be done. I'm just kind of having fun painting. And the collar being in gold was way too much gold. So I ended up coming back and just covering it in black, and we will highlight it, and that will actually be our last step. So again, like I said, pretty quick model to put together and to paint. From my understanding of what little understanding that I have of rules, it didn't make sense, but whatever. These guys can be included in your army up to 1 unit per Cryptothrall, or 1 unit per 1 unit of the exact. Anyways, like I said, not a big rules or lore, but it sounds like if you have a Cryptek, you can bring 2 of these guys to guard it, and it doesn't count against your party's detachment or something like that. So why wouldn't you bring them? They get to jump in front of. I think you can't target the Cryptek either when they're nearby or something like that, and they do more damage. So it's like, by having it in your army, sure, you could have it in your army, but you could also make the best use of it by putting it next to one of those guys. Or I guess in this case, it would be the Plasmancer, which I think is a Cryptek. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know much about it, but I do know that, bam, we're done with that, and we can move on to highlighting it. So our final section is to use Dawnstone to highlight the Abaddon Black. The 2 pieces that we just painted around the, like I said, the collar portion right here. Simple edge highlight. You could use Eshin Gray or a more muted gray so that it doesn't stand out this much, but, you know, I've already gotten Moot Green over that Caliban Green, so it's not like I'm trying to have it look, you know, muted and soft or whatever. So we will finish up with this highlight, and then I'm going to do some basing, glue it all together, and we will be finished. How about that? That was pretty quick. Well, it might be quick. I don't actually know how long it takes, how much time has actually transpired in the editing, but it didn't take me long to film it because they're a very simple model.
And with that, we come to the part of the episode where I get to say, we're done, we made it. Here's the guy over there somewhere, hanging out with his other buddy and having a good time. The model itself, a lot of fun to paint. It was very quick to paint compared to most. Those 2 actually probably took me less time than it would take to do just the normal Necron warrior. But it doesn't have to be complex and hard to do in order to be fun and rewarding. It was a lot of fun to be able to just push those out of the box, slap them together, and just paint them within a night or so. I think if I wasn't filming, I probably could have done both of them, you know, in a couple of hours, which is which is saying something when it comes to the painting that I do. So if you made it this far into the video, thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you liked, click like. If you subscribed to what you subscribed, click subscribe. Something along those lines. I'll figure out a good outro type plea for attention. I don't know what it is. Anyways, once again, thank you for watching, and hope you join me next time. So long.
Knew I should have layered.